I'm getting fed up of all the doublespeak coming from various politicians in America. For example, A.G. Barr runs the DOJ. Everyone says is supposedly some sort of champion of free speech. He's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He's saying internet companies must stop censorship, but must do more to censor. That's basically what he's saying. He's saying they need to get rid of illegal content, but they must stop censoring. Right. It's not the first time A.G. Barr has undermined the people's concerns, because he said they're getting a little annoyed that Hillary Clinton hasn't been dealt with. They're getting a little annoyed that none of the corruption has been reined in. No, they're not getting a little annoyed, A.G. Barr, deep state neocon traitor. Undermining people's concerns like that is the worst form of propaganda, because you seem to be on our side, but then you actually work as a gatekeeper by undermining people's concerns, just like Piers Morgan does in the UK. He's a globalist. He works for the globalist shill agencies that are known propaganda. He expresses views that he doesn't believe because he doesn't need to be genuine. It's not a requirement to tell the truth. And that's actually a lesson we could all learn. It's not a requirement for the establishment to tell the truth in any capacity. So why do we trust it? Why do we trust its fact checkers? Why do we trust its news agencies? And why do we trust it when it comes out and says this happened, when it clearly didn't? The fact checkers are all funded by Bill Gates. The fact checkers are all funded by Soros and the neocons like Paul Wolfowitz. If you look into the funding behind the fact checkers, you'll see that the very people behind 9/11 and covering it up are responsible for controlling information now. What a shocker. And something needs to be done about these fact checkers. They need to be torn down because we've underestimated the damage that they can wreak. They can push us into civil war and world war quite easily. They can stop any discussion. They can alienate people from their friends who are already alienated by wearing masks and fighting each other over various political differences. But they can alienate each other because people armed with the facts, people that have the information, get shut down, get shouted at, get called, discredited, get told they're debunked, get called deniers. All these terms are... they're all learned, practiced methods of shutting down discussion. They're Marxist, communist, globalist methods of shutting down discussion. They're all sanctioned by the UN. They're sanctioned by the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization was exposed recently. It was revealed to be working with Fauci and Gates in the lab in Wuhan. That's where the virus came from. And the biggest funder of the World Health Organization besides America was Bill Gates. And then Gavi as well, a separate Gates-funded entity. He's spread absolutely everywhere. He's got his fact checkers saying that, it's fake news that Bill Gates was going to use a vaccine to, ensure everyone's ID, to mandatory ID, injectable ID. That was fake news, even though he's admitted it. And there's organisations putting money into it and working hard on it and putting out official documents about it. No, it's just conspiracy theory. I'm supposed to believe for the rest of my life that the world I know is fake is real. I'm supposed to believe that a hoax is genuine when I know it's not. I know the fact checkers are fake. I know Black Lives Matter is owned by Soros. I know none of these so-called grassroots movements and revolutions and colour revolutions that happen around the world are organic. They're all grassroots movements pushed by whoever's funding them. And who's funding them? It's always the usual suspects. But I also know that Trump hasn't mentioned Soros once. Bill Mitchell did. James Woods did. Not Trump. He's protecting Soros for some reason. And his DOJ is protecting Soros for some reason as well. And they're protecting Hillary and they're protecting Obama. And Trump is facilitating the globalist deep state takeover of America and takedown of the Constitution. He's the one that hired Fauci and the National Institute of Health to shut down the economy and shut down the country, violating the Constitution more than anyone else has ever done. Trump did that. Not Obama, not Hillary, not the deep state. Trump. And so for all the reining in of human trafficking, what's it going to matter? You're just letting the deep state get away with treason. You're letting another whole load of coup attempts attack you without doing anything to stop them. If you win, if Trump wins 2020, and I don't think he will. I predicted Brexit. I predicted Trump 2016. I now predict a Trump loss because of big tech algorithmic manipulation. We've underestimated it. We've undermined it. And I think it's a lesson that everyone is going to learn, that big tech needed controlling, but it wasn't, and Trump is going to lose because of it, regardless of how many votes he gets. Do you understand? But I think if he won, it wouldn't make much of a difference. He didn't save Roger Stone. He didn't lock Hillary up. He didn't build the wall. He didn't drain the swamp. List of things he hasn't done is just piling up beyond belief. Didn't do anything about Tommy. Didn't do anything about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Oh, I love WikiLeaks. Yeah, now he's got his DOJ wanting the FCC to regulate the internet. And they're saying, doublespeak. Classic doublespeak. Like, we need to stop censorship, but we need to censor more. Sorry, I don't buy it. I don't trust Barr. I don't trust the DOJ. And now, because of that, I don't trust Trump. I thought Trump was the champion because of the human trafficking operation, because of what Q had revealed, and because the media wasn't revealing it. And we know from WikiLeaks that many of the media heads were involved in human trafficking and are on the list for Epstein's flight log. But it turns out those investigations into human trafficking are breadcrumbs. If we can't control the internet, and we can't control the fake fact-checkers, they tell us that human trafficking isn't happening, people aren't going to think it's happening, and then it's going to just sink into the distance again. It's going to sink into the depths again and be forgotten about because of Trump's inaction. And how does that prove to be good at stopping human trafficking? Q is a cult. It's not happening. It's not coming true. Where we go one, we go all. It's a possible future. And fate is a pathway that's already laid out, but it doesn't mean we have to walk it that way. And we're not walking it that way. Trump is walking all over the place. We're trying to guide him to the direction he should be. You know, Americanism, not globalism, and America first. Not Israel first and end the Constitution by trusting NIH and China and Fauci and the lockdown. But this is a global system. Don't forget that. Because in the UK, we've just handed ourselves over to Bill Gates completely. We've just handed ourselves over. We're not going to unlock this country. We're not going to restore festivals or anything until everyone's had a vaccine. A vaccine that scientists say might not work, we know might be dangerous. We already know that MMR, etc. is dangerous, but they say, oh, you must take your MMR. You must keep taking your dangerous vaccines and keep having your statins. Because the paradigm has been blown open. But they don't seem to accept that. It's like how we all know that low-fat things in food actually cause harm now. Because saturated fats are good for you. The more saturated fats you consume, the more salty, acidic stomach environment, the more nutrients you can actually assimilate. So fats don't make you fat. They actually stop you getting fat. That's why low-fat people and Diet Coke people are so fat. It was all a con. We were all lied to. Everything's upside down. Yeah, left is right, black is white. Sorry, Black Lives Matter. Oh, sorry, White Lives Matter. Peacekeepers are war makers. Anti-fascists are fascists. Anti-racists are racists. And Black Lives Matter is a black supremacist hate mob, which is worsening race relations around the world. If I hated black people and wanted to destroy them, I would call my pro-black group Black Lives Matter. Just like if I wanted to push paedophilia, I would call a group Don't Crush Puppies. And then anyone who opposes a group called Don't Crush Puppies, oh, you must want to crush puppies. Because that's how simplistic people think. They can't think. That's why false flags are so easy to get away with. That's why it's impossible for the concept of setting someone up with something to blame the other side. Oh no, because people are so stupid and they've been conditioned and programmed and poisoned by fluoride and dumbed down, etc., that they can't work out the obvious now. And we're still having the same discussions and conversations we've been having 10 years ago. Are chemtrails real? Does this happen? Is Soros involved? We haven't moved on from the discussion, so that's why we lost. Because we were so keen to follow the rules when they were so keen to cheat. And that's why we lost, and that's why Trump lost 2020. Because he underestimated big tech. Big tech already admitted with their manipulation of algorithms that they stole what amounts to 25 million votes in the aggregate. How can he stand against that, no matter how many votes he gets? He can't. I think Trump's going to lose. And I don't think it's a particularly bad thing. I think if he won, it just meant 4 more years of coup attempts and ignoring them. I think it's probably a good thing that he loses.